Howdy, everyone. I'm Sheriff Dakin. This is the Outer Ground Studios podcast, and today I'm here with Glumych, who is a character designer and an excellent artist. Welcome, Glumych. How you
Thank
been?
you very much. Hello, everyone. Well, you can call me Andrei if that's okay.
And today?
Andrei, like like Andrew, but Andrei, it's Russian
Oh,
for
okay.
yeah.
And today. It's a very nice name.
Yeah, thank you. It's well, whatever.
All right. Oh, so the first thing that I really have to ask you is why medieval furry characters that you've been doing?
That's two separate things. Like furries, because you can ask like anyone who so that stuff. I watched a lot of kids' cartoons as a kid, obviously, and Disney stuff, and then there was Russian animation, which also featured a lot of animals. And this is like a thing from your childhood that sticks with you. It never goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually just I usually do it like on a whim. It's a thing I just like, and uh, well, if I well, if I was to make, say, a story, I would probably incorporate it into a story in a way that makes like more sense, so it doesn't like just seem like everyone is just randomly animals, something like that. But
Yeah.
the reason is like because I like it mostly, and that's all.
Okay, so you just grew up with it, sticks with you, and you like it.
Yeah, I watched a lot of animation. Actually, I'm an animator by craft.
Oh, an animator by craft. I actually
Yeah,
haven't seen
yeah.
your animation.
I work at an animation studio in St. Petersburg. I usually don't do animations myself because it takes like a lot of. I'm still trying to start that, but I never got really. It it's a laborious process, and yeah,
Yeah, animation. It's a very hard craft, which a lot of
yeah,
people at
that's
Outground Studios do that as well.
yeah. We do like classic frame by frame animation. Like we draw each frame separately. Like uh, not as good as Disney, obviously, not as good as Disney, but
Yeah.
actually, I can show you like an example of what we do.
All
Like
right, that's cool. If you like send a file over, we can probably put it up there for.
actually, it's funny, but I don't know. Maybe our studio is not very internet savvy, but I think you can watch our entire movies on YouTube, and they are not pirated. They are upload. Our studio itself uploads them. They are officially there for
Oh,
3 years.
really?
I don't get how it works, but um, 1 second. I'll just. I would say I'm not a very big fan of our movies, but they are quite popular in Russia.
Okay. And are you completely self-sufficient from the paycheck that they give you? Like you just live on your own, don't have to have any supplementary jobs?
I kinda am, I guess. I do commissions sometimes, but work doesn't leave me a lot of time, and this is really straining. So, if there is someone in the audience who has commissioned me anything, they would know that I take ages to make literally anything. Uh, if I do like one commission in, say, a week, this will be a blessing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I also take way too long when it comes to art pieces.
Yeah. It's funny though. Probably if I didn't have work, I would still take a lot of time. But yeah, actually, surprisingly, you would expect that working as an animator at the biggest studio in your country would pay you better, I guess. But still, I can survive. That's alright.
Yeah, that's all right. I mean, being able to survive as an artist is probably
I
one of the biggest challenges.
I think our work conditions aren't as bad as, say, the anime industry in Japan.
Hmm.
Yeah, it sounds really harsh how they stuff there.
Yeah, but I hear that about every industry in Japan, honestly.
Well, maybe, yeah. Well, actually, well, I think people at McDonald's can earn better than us here, but I'm not sure. I never worked at McDonald's.
All right.
I'm generally quite lucky, as you might see. But whatever.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
I'm not starving or anything.
oh no, of course not. I mean, you sound like a very healthy man. I mean, you can afford enough to have a drink on the show.
Oh, oh, well, it's just vodka.
um, that's true. That's
Alright.
true. Something else I notice as I look at all your social medias, Twitter for
Oh,
Affinity, DeviantArt, links to those in the description, is that you
oh.
have these characters, but you also have these realistic studies. And I wonder, do you lean more towards characters, like as far as preference goes, or do you
Uh,
like doing these realistic studies a lot more?
obviously, well, those are just studies and sketches. Obviously, when I do a finished drawing, it will always lean more towards stylization. It will be always more stylized. I use this comic-like way of drawing where, well, there's a sketch, then there's line work, then there's coloring, and I always do it in like cell shading of some sort.
Yeah.
Pretty anime like, which is quite funny because I used to hate anime, but I still drew in this style.
Yeah, it seems like you get attracted to a lot of things that you hate. For instance, for Affinity, which you said you would rip your balls off if you ever made an account there.
Did uh, wait? I didn't tell you that, did you?
No, that's just on your DeviantArt page.
Oh man.
But
Well, yeah, that's true. Well, yeah. I used to hate furries too, and here we are now.
oh man.
I don't hate them anymore, obviously. I guess the more you get exposed to something, the less you hate it. Usually it turns. Usually that's how it goes.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I remember I used to hate a lot of stuff, but then I was just exposed to it, and over time, I ended up unironically liking it, just being really
Yeah,
into
yeah.
it.
And just to clear things up, to all my furry subs on Fur Affinity and Twitter, I love you all, guys. You're all great. I don't have a bit of negative feeling towards you. Yeah, just to clear things up,
yeah, so we don't want to hate on the
I don't,
fans.
I don't want people to get me wrong. I like, yeah, this stuff it was really long ago. I think I wouldn't even say when I, well, if we talk about say anime, I don't think I will remember when I stopped hating it. I think it was after uh, I rewatched Princess Mononoke. I think it was way long time ago.
Ah, all right.
Yeah, whatever.
Let's see. I also want to know, would you say that anything that you draw is influenced by anime?
Oh, it's pretty hard to say actually. I think everything I consume kind of influences me in a way. But it should, yeah, it should because well, how do I say it? Uh, I don't exactly borrow things directly from anime, but damn man, I think after I watch the entire JoJo's, maybe my posing will become more JoJo-like at some point. Yeah, but I don't know.
all right. Do they have like very expressive kind of posing in that?
Um, mm, um actually, well, I don't. No, no. Well, hard to say. Um, well, I try to like. I don't know how to put it. Well, uh, I think that I think it is very important to put your character in an expressive pose. I really hate it when a pose just looks boring. And um, uh, this is kind of part of my job because we have been trained here at our studio specifically to uh, put characters into poses that express something. I consider it a failure if I think. pose. It's really boring. This is one thing that well, you mentioned like that my drawings are very detailed, and that's quite funny because I think that how much your drawing, how detailed your drawing is actually not very important. The important thing is to have like good composition, most of all, first of all. And it's good composition. If it's a character drawing, it's of course their pose. You need to get the colors right, big masses, and long story short, your drawing must look good for, from afar.
Yeah, I think
Difficult
that
in your
is definitely
picture.
good.
Yeah, the important is how your drawing feels in general, and your like the detailed stuff, the details, small stuff, and all that. It's really secondary. It comes after that.
Yeah.
You can make a work that's really boring, but is very very elaborate, and this is just effort wasted in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense because your drawings are very composition heavy. They have very expressive poses,
Thanks.
and people really seem to like them. Like your comments are always like, "Wow, you do these really amazing poses. You do really amazing
Well,
stuff."
I don't know. I don't think that people are very inclined to leave negative feedback in general because that's not very nice. Something. So, I don't know. There's always like those memes that people always meme to you and they shit on your work, but the only couple of times when I got chat on it is because I draw furries or something, and just a couple of times, and they still said that that's okay otherwise, and so on. I don't know. Well, actually, when people like say, "Oh, it's great" and so on, and honestly, it's my least favorite type of comment.
Oh, really? Why's
Yeah,
that?
well, they're just boring. What? Well, I can say thanks and what if I get like say 3 comments like that? I just put like 3 saying thank you messages there. This is like I myself start seeming like a bot. I just actually sometimes I feel like hesitant even to. It's actually quite rude that this thing happens from on my part, but. I just don't like to leave 3 like virtually similar thank you messages there because it just seems very impersonal. Like I'm checking a box or something. I like engaging with people that comment.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I,
It's much more interesting to talk to someone about something.
yeah, you don't.
Actually, that's my most favorite thing about putting my uh, work in public to on showcase, putting it on showcase. Yeah, that's way. Yeah,
You're sorry.
it's get like a lot of likes and reposts, but it really gets old very very fast. And, that's
Let's see.
it's kind of unfulfilling. To be honest.
Huh. Really? Like, did
Yeah.
you expect it to be like a little more fulfilling than it actually was?
Uh, mm, well, it's just honestly, I know these are all real people who have opinions, but I don't even know what they think about it. They just press like, and those are just numbers going up.
Yeah.
Actually, engaging people is much much exciting.
Yeah, it's much more dynamic that way, I guess you could say. It's
Yeah.
always different and unique. Oh, and one thing that I remember one commenter saying, which I thought was really true, is that you do armor for these characters really
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
Let's see. I was wondering, do you have like a specific likingness towards armor?
Do I have a specific what?
Like, do you like armor more than other clothing?
Oh yeah, well, of course I like clothes too. somewhat. But yeah, armor is how to say it's. Yeah, I'd say I like drawing armor more than I like clothes because well, I guess it's a boyish feeling when playing with soldier figurines and so on. It's like I personally think it's kind of childish, but that's kind of the point of it. You
Yeah.
know, like the drawing when I just draw a bunch of helmets on a dog or something.
Oh yeah, you have
This,
a lot of those.
this is exactly that. Just like playing with toy soldiers, something like this. And the armor stuff. Well, kinda. Well, uh, I'll tell you. I'll tell you what. I'll have to shield for medieval YouTubers. I watch them all the time. You know, guys like Scalagrim, Shadiversity, these guys.
Let's see. I have not heard of those.
Not heard of this. Oh, damn it. I think I can actually show you these guys. He makes a lot of speculation videos on like fantasy, like on really realistic and thought out takes on popular fantasy. I would say just well, you can see that by his channel. He is just like, awesome. Really love that guy. Then there's this guy. He's um,
Huh. Something I noticed about both these channels is that I have actually seen them before. I just don't remember having seen them.
yeah, I see. And
Let's...
this guy, well, he's similar to them, except well, he has more of somewhat of an Italian flavor to this. Like he's Italian, and I think he's like an educated historian. He's an Orientalist, first of all. I think this guy.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot of videos on Japanese stuff and a lot of stuff on ancient Rome too. And then there's that guy. 1 second. Let me remember. Oh.
Oh. This is honestly something I was not expecting, because I know that like certain artists like to draw certain things, but it doesn't
Well,
really go any farther than them drawing it. But you are actually like really into the things that you draw. It's more like you saw them, you know a lot about them.
why else would I draw them otherwise?
Well, I don't know. Like most artists, I don't know if they know anything more. Like I know that I think the most in detail I've ever seen someone get into with their drawing is this one animator who likes sword fights, so he studied like sword fighting
Oh,
techniques.
he's like a HEMA practitioner. HEMA practitioner, yeah.
HEMA practitioner. Oh my god.
HEMA is like historical European martial arts,
Oh, historical.
or it's like sports fencing.
I'm not sure. It's not definitely not sports fencing. I think it definitely does lean towards the European stuff, but also some samurai stuff.
Samurai, it's kendo. I think I think it's called kendo.
Oh, okay.
The stuff, sword stuff.
Okay.
And this last guy, it's he's very very history oriented. He's uh, medieval reenactor, reenactor, yeah,
Reenacta.
reenactor,
Oh.
medieval reenact. And you can just watch him go through one set of armor for several hours. Like if you need like concrete reference on real historical like full metal plate armor, this is this guy.
Wow, this is really becoming a tutorial on how to get used to armor referencing, I guess. Like,
Yeah, I just need to shield for my favorite YouTubers, man.
Oh man.
Okay, so well, you get it. Well, he just I just well, you know how it happens. I got into it first, then it become kind of when I grew like an obsession with that stuff, and you just can't go, you just cannot go back.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
it makes so much sense, but it's not something that I see very often, and that's why it's so surprising because you have this like really kind of in-depth knowledge of like why
I
armor is
call this
here.
honestly, I wouldn't call this in-depth knowledge. Uh, there are people like actual historians. There are people like reenactors, and these people. These are people who I would say have an in-depth knowledge. I have more like a super. I always forget this word. Like super.
Official.
Uh, Superficial, yeah, I have like a superficial knowledge, but I think it's enough to make my fantasy stuff look more authentic than well it usually gets. But I would never claim that I have like a good historical knowledge on armor and medieval period and so on. But hey, I make fantasy with furries. That's probably more than enough.
Yeah.
So that
Wow, it's really interesting. So, to all our viewers, here are your references if you want to make armor now.
yeah.
Just a complete course on what to do with your armor.
Well, you probably would need something more, and you should know that you won't be a goddamn specialist if you will just watch some YouTube videos. It's very important to consider. Uh, but yeah, one side effect of this stuff is when you can just become cocky and start explaining things to everyone, like you cannot penetrate plate armor with a sword, and so on.
Oh,
Yeah, well, and just pretty much well, so yeah.
yeah. Let's see. When it comes to this fantasy stuff, people who are like just getting into drawing medieval characters, is there ever like mistakes that you see them make a lot?
Oh man, it really depends on the artist. Um, you can have a very good knowledge about stuff and and just start getting into drawing, and you can draw with very good knowledge, but not very good skill. And you can do it vice versa. You can be a great artist and no jack shit about armor.
Hmm.
It's really hard to say. I never actually. I don't think I ever paid attention to that, but well, yeah, it really depends on the person.
Yeah, it makes sense. Um,
Yeah.
let's see. Something about your character designs. I want to know, like, how do you start making a character design? Like, what do you first consider?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I just have an idea. Like, if I say, uh, maybe I listen to music, then something comes to my mind, then develops from there. I don't think I even have something to start off. Sometimes it can be just like, uh, usually it just comes to my mind and just stays there. I usually it's not very how do I say it isn't a very concrete process which I go through step by step. Well,
Yeah.
you get what I mean. Usually I just get an image in my head and work from there. It's really kinda on a whim. I am I don't know. I just go where I feel it. I don't.
It sounds like you have a much more, I don't know, luck-based approach, I guess.
Kinda, yeah.
Let's
Well,
see. When the
I
moment
don't know. I don't
strikes, you
have
know.
a. Well, what I can say, I can say for sure that I don't have a really well organized, structured approach to character design. Yeah, I'm probably I'm not technically a very good character designer.
Oh, really? You
So I
don't
just
consider
go.
yourself
Yeah,
that good?
I just go where I feel. There is like again, I don't know. I'll just cite my another YouTuber that I like, like Super Eye Patch Wolf, who makes like anime stuff.
Let's see. I'm sorry. Can you say that name again?
Super Eye Patch Wolf.
I know. I don't think I've heard this one. Getting
Yeah,
introduced to a
well,
lot of new things.
anyway, he had this video on character design where he went through Jotaro Kujo. You know him, right? From JoJo.
Yeah, JoJo.
Yeah. And he really went in detail which stuff on his suit makes him the badass that he is, and so on. And really, that's how do I say it? I don't put thought into every detail I put on my characters like that.
Hmm.
Yeah. And probably I should start doing that. Maybe I will actually think things over more thoroughly in the future. I probably will have to do this. But
Yeah. Do you think you have a structured approach to anything, or would you say that all your projects in the past have been just very inspirational?
it's really hard to say actually. Um, well, it's weird, but I don't know what to say.
Huh.
It like it just mm, it's probably kind of structured in like uh, well I don't really say. I don't think it's. I wouldn't say it's very structured. To be honest. Yeah,
Oh,
I
okay.
usually I just try to feel stuff with my gut and maybe think on in the moment.
Okay.
Or maybe it just comes to me, then I do stuff. I need to change this, I need to change that, I need to do this, and but I don't have like a map in my mind when I just know what I will be doing. I
Huh.
guess so.
Would you say that you're
Well,
like
well,
very workaholic then?
I wouldn't say I'm very workaholic. I would say I'm pretty lazy, to be honest. I procrastinate a lot, and although I don't know, well, maybe with how little time I have, well, the job is probably it's hard to expect me to do a lot of stuff, but I have a feeling that I don't do enough.
Hmm.
Yeah. I wouldn't call me a workaholic, honestly. I think I'm pretty lazy, actually. I honestly think I'm.
I think that's something like very common for artists. Like even people who reach the top of their field and they're like working all day, they're like, man, I need to work more.
Ah, man, we are just all too lazy.
Yeah. All right. And something about some of your past projects before. I noticed that you made this free game with some of your friends in a couple months, was it?
Yeah, it was pretty long ago. It never went anywhere. Well, this I have this thing when even when I try to do something small, it usually grows and bloats and becomes a thing of my dream and so on. Because well, yeah, we just wanted to make a really simple, small visual novel with stuff, which would be really simple. Then it became really big, and we decided that I think we need to do something small, and let's just make a very short story, maybe for like 10 and 20 or 20 minutes to just do something already, and then it became a huge fucking novel which we couldn't even complete. And then I had this comic of mine, and it was really big, and I thought that I needed to do something small to get more experience with comics, and then I started to work on another comic which would feature like I just wanted to draw rats, so it would be a comic about rats, and it should be really effortless, small, maybe with some funny, light-hearted, and not very serious. And here we are, I'm making another big fucking serious project. I just can't get myself to write it properly.
Yeah, you have how many pages of that do you have out right now?
of which one?
That comic series?
The last one.
Yeah, the last one.
Actually, I started making thumbnails, but after trying that, I think after making 5 of them, I understood that I need to write it through. I really need to write a lot of it beforehand, because I really, really hate when I don't know where I'm going. So, if I finally take a hold of myself and do stuff for at last, I would first maybe write like one big part of it, then thumbnail it, and only after that I'll make comic pages. Because, well, you probably saw that I had like an old comic of mine which I dropped, I think, a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made like 30 pages of that. I never had a script, an actual script. I just kept all the stuff in my mind, and I would never thumbnail maybe more like. Actually, thumbnailing 5 pages forward would be a lot for me, and it just. I think you can even notice then that it just changes as I go. It even starts looking different. And in one page, I had one way I saw one character, and then 5 pages ago, I have a completely different view of this character, and he changes even how he behaves.
Did it just get to be kind of like too much? Like too much of it was unplanned and was very difficult to handle for you?
Yeah, it was very unplanned. I thought it was planned because I handled everything in my mind, but then I just think, this part kind of sucks. I think this thing I thought of on a trip to work today, I think it's much better, so let's change it. And I never had everything written anywhere, and I kept forgetting things, and it just spiraled out of control, and, well, the writing there is really cringy. This is not how you write anything. Never do this.
Oh man, would you say that there are like a lot of cliches in this series?
I don't know. I try to avoid this, but this, you can write a competent story with cliches. This wasn't a competent story.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you get it, right?
Yeah, I get it. It's very the point of the story, moral of the story, I guess, is plan out your stuff. You have to.
Yeah, plan out your fucking stuff.
Yeah, that's something that a lot of artists tend not to do, and it makes
Yeah,
us get a lot of mediocre series that never get finished.
yeah. It's like with drawing anyway. There's a lot of parallels between different mediums of art. Like usually you first make a sketch of a drawing, then maybe you sketch it further, and only then you start, the actual drawing, because you know what you will do. You have fixed all the stuff already before it's too late. And the same thing works for stories, for novels and cinema and comics and all forms of storytelling. You just, maybe there are people who can just sit and write everything in one go, but, well, the stuff I read on the internet say that nobody writes just in one sit.
Yeah.
Some people can just write by the seat of their pants, but even then, they usually come back and fix stuff.
Yeah, that's why most like major companies have a group of people so they can get like 30 drafts at once or something, you know?
Oh yeah, and when you have several heads thinking about one thing, it's probably easy to point out each other's mistakes and stuff.
Yeah, just collectively
Oh,
think.
yeah, as the saying goes, one head is good and 2 heads are better.
Yeah, 2 heads are better than one, I think it is.
Yeah, 2 heads are better than.
Yeah, do you think you'll ever do another comic or another maybe a little
That's what
oh,
I'm going for right now.
let's see. Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm trying to put out a script now, but I would say I'm in a stage of when I'm really afraid to sit down and write anything. but I hope I will get there. And then I want to restart my old comic. Well, when I write it through like more competently.
Yeah, just make sure you got
I
a
even
strong
think
foundation.
actually, I have outlined the first big chapter for maybe like a pretty decent amount of pages. But it's like it's not a script; it's an outline. But if I were to start from there, this is much better than what I had before.
Okay, so it's like you only have an outline, but it's already better.
It's already better. Yeah, it's much more.
Man, that's good. That's good. Does it have a name yet?
Oh, god damn it! I think I will call it like Soul for the Machine. I think this is the stuff which I would go for if I had to do it right now. I think that would be it. Soul for the Machine. Yeah,
Oh, okay, that's cool.
it's
And
like the thing about this particular comic. It was in part inspired by. Do you know the game series Thief?
Thief? Oh, Thief. Yeah,
Yeah,
they recently did a reboot for that, or
yeah.
recently-ish.
It was really shitty, but the original games were really great. They had this actually quite weird mix of medieval stuff. Well, the first game had like this order of extremely fanatic, uh, uh, well, religious guys, which run stuff. I forgot how you call this. How do you call it when religious guys run stuff?
Are you talking about
Bureaucracy,
the?
bureaucracy. They had this really big, brutal theocratic order with Inquisition and stuff. They had magic. They had Dungeons and Dragons rogue as the protagonist, but on the other hand, they had electricity running everywhere. And this was a very weird mixture of medieval aesthetics and technology, and this really inspired me. I always wanted to do something like that. And this one universe, which I well made up and worked with, uh, they had basically they had an industrial revolution, but with the magic and in medieval times. So they have sword and sorcery, but at the same time they have well early stages of capitalism.
Oh, okay, that's cool. And your story is also gonna have this kind of aesthetic?
Um, the other one with rats, no, it's mostly just feudal with fantasy stuff.
Oh, okay. But with the magic and the combination of electricity, do you plan on doing something with that?
Yeah, actually, well, they use magic as a source of energy for stuff, and the way like it works, well, you need a soul to cast magic, and they just create artificial souls which can only do like very simple one task. For example, like boil water or something like that, and they make automated productions out of that. So they basically they have magic engine, soul engine instead of steam engine,
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes
and
sense.
they produce stuff on factories basically. Yeah.
Man, that's and these souls, do they come from actual people or animals of some kind?
Uh, I thought about that, but I think no, they are artificial. And actually, that one name in Russian it was like man-made. Ah, yeah, it was man-made souls. Yeah, that's why it was called like this.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like if they come from real people, it would be real sad to have your soul taken and then only
Yeah,
be used to boil water or something.
that would suck. Yeah, that's. I had some ideas about that actually somewhere maybe. After all, you can have such cruel stuff when your story features like Nazi furry wolves or something.
Yeah. Let's see. And about the brutal theocracy that's going on here, do you plan to explore that kind of it's a more of a
Uh,
political theme, I guess you could say. Do you
Yeah,
think you
it's
could?
yeah. This is the thing. This was the thing in Thief, not here.
Oh, okay, not here. Okay, that was in Thief.
Yeah, that was in Thief.
All
And
right.
damn, it's so good, man.
I can
Yeah,
tell someone didn't like that reboot.
Um, I don't like the review. Actually, I didn't even play it for much, but damn, the old. I can't say enough how great the old games were. I really love them. I haven't beat the second game yet, but I still love it. It's actually kind of quite funny how long the first game took me to beat. I started it in like 2011 maybe, and I only finished it I think last year or maybe 2 years ago, something like that. It's
Yeah.
like this unlucky thing when I really liked it, but it could be exhausting sometimes with large levels and and because of how big and because how big and complicated the levels were, you would sometimes just want to have some rest after them, and it leads to you dropping the game for some time, and then something happens, like my hard drive dies or something else like that, and I just lose saves, and I think I lost my saves like 5 times.
Oh my god.
I started the game over a lot of times. And it even carried on to the second game too. I had a really unlucky run with this, but I'll beat it Monday, the second one.
Yeah. And then you beat the first one in 3 years?
It took really long. I don't remember when I beat it. Maybe into maybe maybe 5 years after I started it. Well, it was really long. But the aesthetics, I got a lot of inspiration there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, goddammit, in my comic, the protagonist was basically a Garrett X-Spy.
I'm sorry, say that name again?
Garrett.
Garrett.
Garrett X-Spy. Well, his name wasn't Garrett, but he literally was just a dude in a cape with a bow.
Oh, okay, yeah. Man, and do you have like any more details that you wish to unveil, or do you want to keep this in the dark until you unveil it, I suppose?
I don't know. I think I probably can. I don't know. What's the point anyway?
That's a very philosophical question, sir.
Yeah, because if I actually get to finishing it, well, people will know anyway. And if I don't, it will be really sad to lay it all out like beforehand, and then not have it done.
Yeah, I kind of understand what you mean. Let's
Yeah.
see. I would really like to see that done. I think everyone would like to see that done because it just sounds like an interesting concept of itself.
Yeah, it can be easy.
Let's see. It's also a very different style than like you have a very different style than what's really out there right now because you're doing these medieval things that are kind of comic inspired, while I think a lot of other people are going for the more toony stuff, I guess you could say.
Well, I think my style is pretty good.
Yeah, it's cartoony, but I don't know. I'd see a lot of comic stuff, like a lot of your shading is drastic shading, like you would see in comics.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, yeah, I just, you know how I go. I usually just do stuff and think, I think I will do this here and that there, and then it gets there.
Yeah, it's all very. I don't know. There's a way of describing that process, but I know what you mean. I do that a lot with my pieces as well, where you just started and then it becomes this thing.
Yeah.
All right, well, we just hit the 40-minute mark. I believe that's our time here for today.
Oh,
Uh,
great.
Thank you for coming on our show. It was a great pleasure.
You're always welcome. Thanks for picking me again.
Oh, no problem. It was really I had to with the quality of art you made.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So links in the description. He's on DeviantArt, for Affinity, and Twitter. And is there anything else you would like to plug before we end things off?
I don't know. Maybe I would say something what I would think funny, but I don't have anything on my mind. Maybe I'm not drunk enough. Yeah. So let's leave it at that.
All right, that's a good place to end it. Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
До свидания.